We are live. What's up, everybody? I hope you are having a truly fantastic day. It's Friday. I don't know where you are in the world, but it's probably Friday. If not, it's Saturday. Can't really go backwards, huh? Anyways, I got distracted there. Lots of stuff going on. Another spot XRP ETF approved in North America. We're talking about Canada here. We're going to get into all of that. We got some AVAX news. We got some Bitcoin news. We're going to talk about Genius Act. We're going to talk about Tether being able to stay in the United States. We'll have to see about that. And I got a ton of news. I'm gonna answer all your questions too. Well, I'm gonna try to answer all of your questions. Let's see. We got that guy here first. Let me first say, what's up, bro? Good to see you, that guy. Thank you for being here. We got Austin here. Great to see you. Leilani Austin. What a beautiful name, Leilani. Ricky Teff is here. What's up, Ricky? Hong Kong in the building. Matt is here. What's up, Matt? Great to see you. Tristan Baker. We got Christopher Bergen here. Says Aloha Sensei from Ohio. As always, hoping for the best in the world. Thankful you are always here to give us the good news. Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for being here. Always nice to see you. Got Jerry Maples here. US wants to be the leader in digital assets. They better get led out of their ass. Yeah, I hear that. We're going to talk about all that. We got Ariana here making sure that the chat is safe. Make sure that you show her respect and some love. She is just trying to keep us all safe. So big shout out to Ariana. We got King Sal here. What's up? Oh, hail Sensei. What's up, my friend? Eric Holder is here. Says another great day to be alive. Good to see you, Eric. Great to have you here, man. A lot of other people joining here. We got Keith. We got Mark. Oh, man, so many people. Rocco, is ZBIC a good investment? So, Rocco, I do have some ZBIC news. All I can do is give you the news and what my opinion is on it. Obviously, if you want financial advice, this is not the right place for that. But there has been a lot of positive information posted online, and like Zach Rector and a few other people that I think have a pretty good eye for projects have been a pretty vocal about being in it for some time and all that stuff. So we'll get into all of that. I'll try to address that here. I did want to say congrats on Tuesday. On Tuesday we did a live stream and we had talked about a project called Angel, ANGL. And this was something that was brought up in my Discord community, Kryptonaires. There was some buzz about this. We were excited to participate. Anyways, long story short, I was in a space Wednesday morning for, like 3 hours. And this thing finally launched. And I had the best timing in the world. Oh, my God. So let me back up here. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. So if you're not familiar with this, let me just put this on your screen so you know what the heck I'm talking about. Okay. So we knew that this project was launching for some time. This was coming out of the twin ecosystem, and a lot of really smart people involved here. And this thing launched around $1 million market cap. This thing almost hit, I think it was like almost 7 million, right? Here's the 7 million mark. This thing got pretty close a few times, like 6.8 million. Anyways, this was an easy 500% gain in the last few days. So congrats to everybody that participated either through listening to me talking about this last Tuesday, just a few days ago, or if you were in the Kryptonaires Discord, you already had all of this information. You knew what to do, when to do it. And man, this was a really nice hit. I was able to turn about 4,000 or 5,000. My bag's close to about maybe like 18,000, 19,000. So, making 13,000, 14,000 bucks in a few days, that's a pretty good win in my book. But let me set the stage here. What happened? So this was a fair launch. No KOLs, no early people getting in. Lady Trader helped with the whole kind of behind the scenes and launching. And so there was this really great space that I was a part of. I got invited as a speaker, and just a lot of really smart, incredible people sharing ideas and information. And so this is all about digital twins. And, the ideas are really incredible. We're going to see how well and how quickly this all takes over. But if you believe in AI, you can basically create a digital representation, a digital twin of yourself. And that twin can, basically do certain tasks and things as you sleep, or help you become a better version of yourself, all kinds of stuff. So Angel is a project that's kind of wrapped up in that. And we talked about the white paper and the website and all that stuff. So fast forward to Wednesday. Okay. We did all this Tuesday. Wednesday was the launch day. And so we really didn't know what time it was going to launch, because it was supposed to be a fair launch. Anyways, I got up at like 5. It was going to launch anywhere between like 4:30 my time, 4:30 a.m. and like 10 o'clock. And so I woke up at 5, hadn't launched. I joined the space. I was in the space for a few hours, but then I had to go to a doctor's appointment, and I was like, oh no, I'm going to miss the launch. And sometimes, it's just like that. If you're trying to get into a fresh launch and you don't really have the exact time because it's a fair launch, sometimes, you miss it because regular life, comes in and messes with that. And so I knew that I needed to get some crypto into one of my Telegram wallets, so I could actually, right when it launched, I could program that thing to try to buy some right as it launched. And so just so happens I went to my first chiropractor appointment, and then I went to the doctor's for physical therapy for an hour. And in between those two times, there was this perfect time. It was 10 o'clock my time, where I was on my Telegram app, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to see if I can send a transaction. I sent a transaction for 1.2 ETH, and it went through. The second, like, I decided to, press enter and try to buy it, it had been live for maybe like 60 seconds or something. And so the timing gods rained down upon me, and I was able to get into that pretty cheaply. And it was a great win for the community and anybody that participated. So I love to see it. I want to just show you here again what this project is. It's called Angel. If you want to get some more information on it, like if you kind of missed the Tuesday's chat when we went over this in pretty big detail, I'll give you the website and say, hey, spend some time taking a look at this. This is serious people trying to build serious products. The crypto space is a very interesting space. There is, there could be a lot of buzz created around this type of stuff. And you have some really just incredible people here. Pavan, very big thinker, entrepreneur. He's been the co-founder of multiple projects. I think in the Web 2 space, he's been a part of companies that have made like, $30 billion or some insane number. So this guy has been very successful. Bill Inman, if you remember this guy is from Twin Protocol and AGI. What is it? Hold on. 3 AI companies merge into one. My brain is just hold on. Give me a second. I want to pull up the exact company that this guy came from. As that's doing that, I just want to show you. Here's the Twitter here. 31,000 followers. If you're interested, this is really cool. Create your own AI twin, earn income, connect effortlessly, and thrive in the AI economy. So just make fully transparent here. I'm not being paid by the company to talk about this. I just thought it was fun to talk about a win that we, all just kind of shared recently. And, this is why people love the crypto space. If you can identify opportunities, if you can work together and share information and pool resources, you can have a pretty spectacular week. And so we'll see where this thing goes. I'm hoping for big numbers. Obviously, that's what we're always hoping for when we buy into any crypto project. There's obviously risks associated, adoption, technology, all of these different things. But right now, I'm looking pretty good. I have not sold any. I am still holding my complete bag, just to be fully transparent, so you know what my strategy is here. I think there's a lot more to come for this project. There's only a few hundred holders. Let me see this. There's only 271 holders. If you didn't know this, check this out. So 5.7 million market cap, 271 holders, a billion circulating supply of the token. So total supply is 1 billion tokens. So, interesting, right? Interesting. Oh man, I would love to see this thing go crazy. Okay, so let's take a look at the market. What's happening? What's going on? If you're just now joining us, welcome. If you guys get any value from these chats, if you're on Twitter, you can hit like, you can share the space on Twitter. I'd really appreciate that. And if you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit like. If you want to leave a comment below, you can do that as well. And as I go through this news, I will periodically come into the chat and answer as many questions as I can. So here's Bitcoin. We're at 103,000 right now. We're off about 2.3% in the last 7 days. This has been kind of spotty. since we had this whole, Israel and Iran situation. Now the U.S. might be getting involved and other partners. Anytime you have these big geopolitical events, markets get a little shaky. People are unsure if this is going to be a longer period of kind of I don't want to say, the 3-letter word that begins with W, has an A in the middle and ends in R. I know YouTube gets a little weird about that kind of stuff, but when we have these situations of uncertainty, people tend to get a little squeamish in the market. And you saw that with Bitcoin. This is kind of, you saw that kind of peel off right here. And if you look at like XRP, if you look at any of these other assets, you look at the last week, they all have this same kind of, we're, 230, we were just cruising. And of course we get this bad news and we're back down to $2.11. So, we get these peaks and valleys in the crypto. Sometimes people consider these as opportunities. If you believe that the market is going to continue to go up over the next 6 to 8 months or whatever the time frame is that you have, obviously this could be an opportunity for some. And some people believe that the market's already over. I personally don't believe that. I think with the Genius Act and all of that news, I think there's a lot of bullish momentum, but we always want to be considering like what could be like a black swan event or something that could massively affect the market. And we'll talk about that here in just a bit. All right. So there's a lot of really unique news this week. Circle IPO'd. If you didn't see that, Circle IPO'd, and I believe like last time I checked, it was like $200 per share. So congratulations to the Circle team for IPOing. This kind of reminded me of the Coinbase IPO. If you remember when the Coinbase IPO'd, all the C-level people in Coinbase sold, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stock. You didn't get as bad of dumping with Circle, but you still got, people took some hefty profits, as they should, I guess. I just didn't love when Coinbase, basically did hundreds of millions of dollars worth of dumping on the public, but all good. Let me say, I don't really want to talk about this. It does look like if you take a look at past markets, right? Here is bear, pre-bull, first bull, second bull. It's kind of incredible how you can compare like previous markets and the charts, right? If you interlay or overlay all of these together, you start to see some really big similarities here. And so you start to wonder, right? How high is this going to go? And so that is a question I'd like to ask you guys. Where do you see Bitcoin going here? Where do you see Bitcoin topping out? Is this a 150, 200,000, 500,000? I'd love to better understand what you guys are thinking. I need Ripple to IPO. AJ, so do you own stock? Is that why you need them to IPO, or what's the reason? I mean, probably you own stock if you want that, if you need them. Because if you want and need is two different things. Wanting is like, it's good for Ripple, it's good for the community, right? I need it is like, I got some money invested in this and I'm trying to make some more money, right? So which one is it? Coinbase is crap, dishonest. I think, AJ, the crypto space is constantly evolving. Could they have made some better decisions on kind of their security and customer information? Absolutely. I don't think Coinbase is intentionally doing these types of things, but they are the biggest, exchange or brokerage in the United States. When that happens, you have a lot of things that can happen to negatively impact that. But I don't see people or the C-level people at Coinbase actively doing things to hurt people in the market. But I understand what you're saying, and I get the frustration. We going below 199? We could, my friend. You got Circle at $30. Man, that is really smart. Congratulations on that. That's a huge success. Really, really nice. Bitcoin 130K, Ariana, you think so? I think it'll go a little higher. I honestly think it'll go higher. I would be shocked if Bitcoin didn't go to like 150 to 200. That's kind of where I feel comfortable talking about it. I know that people are, saying 400, 500, but like realistically, if we can get to 200,000 Bitcoin, it'll be really incredible for all of us. Do you believe XRP will save us? Do we need saving? I think XRP is a tool for financial institutions. How they want to use that tool and develop that tool, that's up to each institution. But when I look at the top 10 or top 20 or top 50 tokens, XRP stands out as one of the asset classes, one of the ledgers that I think banks and financial institutions as a whole are interested in using. What is that level of adoption and how long will that take? These are all up for debate. But I really do. I think HBAR is good. I think Cardano is a good to hold as well. So, there's a lot of other assets that I personally, like and that I'm currently adding. I've been adding some Stronghold, SHX recently. I've been adding some more ZBIC recently. I even might try to buy some more Angel depending on if we dip a little bit lower. So, but interesting to see a few of your perspectives on, oh, Edward Farito's here. Oh, what's up, my friend? Just want to say this is a class act, man. I've been going through some challenging things in my personal life, and Edo reached out to me and just cheered me up a few days in a row. And so people like this are really well needed in the crypto space. And so I really appreciate you being here, man. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Lloyd says, do you know the key dates for ISO? Yeah, Lloyd, we know the key dates, but we should talk about this. I keep seeing conflicted dates. Sorry, been out of the news, as well as Download Festival recently. Download Festival, is that like techno or is that like pop? What kind of music? So let me show you something that you can do. You can use this as a tool. If you ever have a question like this and I'm not live streaming for a day or two and you want it answered, what you can do is you can pull up Perplexity. You can use pretty much any AI tool that you feel comfortable with. And so I would say, show me the important ISO 20022 dates, go live dates in the USA and global. So this should, I believe the USA date that you're probably, people have been talking about is July 14th. That's when, FedWire and the big, migration is supposed to happen. But let's just take a look at here what you're talking about. So we searched, what the dates are, right? Show me the important dates. And this thing came up with what your exact question was, is when are the dates, Sensei? And here you go. So this was originally planned for March 10, 2025. It got pushed back to July 14th. So that is the date that we have here for the Federal Reserve, FedWire funds moved to ISO. You also have SWIFT and SWIFT member banks. There's been some that have already moved over, and there's some that should be moved over by November 2022. I have seen that the number should be as high as like 83 to 85% by November, but you do have systems like Target and SEPA that have already been live with ISO for quite some time. So the frustrating thing that I hear people say is like, this is the date that everything is going to explode. If you've been in crypto for some time, you know that dates come and go, right? And these are kind of more of just like a placeholder for when hopefully banks will start using this. I still think regulation is an issue for some banks in certain countries. I wouldn't say that on July 14th, XRP is going to go to $50 or $100. I would say that, let's get to the date and see, if it's going to have some impact. Obviously, getting everybody on the same standard, very important, very important. And I think as banks become more secure, if banks become more comfortable, is the right word I was looking for there, I do think you're going to see more and more crypto being used inside of ISO for settlement. But you do have millions of ISO messages getting processed every single day right now, and you don't see a huge impact on price. That is the reason why I kind of gave you that full gist of stuff right before I mentioned that. So, will this have an impact eventually? Yes. Will it happen in July? I don't know. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. What do you think about DeFi? So are we talking about DeFi on the XRP ledger? If we are talking about that specific part of it, I think, because of the lawsuit, you didn't really have people building on the XRP ledger, right? You had some people that believed that Ripple was going to be victorious and this and that. But think about it. If you are a up and coming project and the project, what you wanted to develop is on a chain that is going through some really harsh criticism, around the world, especially getting sued by a regulator in the United States, a lot of people just stopped building or didn't build on the XRP ledger. Now that we're getting to the point of getting this finally behind us, you are starting to see more and more projects starting to want to build in the DeFi space on the XRP ledger. You're also starting to see like Flare, and you're hearing Charles Hodgkinson of Cardano talking about they want to have a DeFi layer on the XRP ledger, right? And so now you're starting to have these different DeFi layers competing against themselves. You also have EVM compatibility, right? That testnet and EVM compatibility with smart contracts for the XRP ledger. What is that going to do? I think that'll bring in more projects, more developers using more XRP, and that can definitely help us in the long run here. I know we're just like we're going at it right now with this information. So hopefully that is helpful. Cold wallets, definitely. I like Ledger. I've seen a lot of people talk about Decent, Treasure. You know, if you want a phone wallet, the Zaman wallet for XRP is pretty good. I like that one as well. But those are all. Is Flare a buy? Let's take a look. Where, like, I would imagine if you believe in DeFi on the XRP ledger, Flare is probably something that they have been keeping their heads down and really building for the past few years. I mean, just take a look at this, right? This thing debuted in 2023. This is over 2 years of pretty much, up and down, but really not taking it to the max. We're at $1 billion market cap here. And if you think, oh, shoot. Hold on. I know I'm not sharing the right screen here. This is what I want to show you. I do apologize. So here's Flare. We're at 1.7 cents. We're down about 78% overall though. But if you take a look, this debuted back in 2023, in January is at least when CoinMarketCap started capturing data on this. So this was back in, I think, December when this launched, and you had this constant selling pressure of people claiming rewards and selling over this long period of time. Is Flare a buy right now? If you believe in DeFi on the XRP ledger, I think Flare is probably a good opportunity. It's difficult for me, right? Because I'm looking at, do I buy some Flare right now? Or do I buy some more ZBIC? Do I buy some more SHX? Do I buy some more ADA or SUI? I really like SUI. I've been adding a lot of SUI. So it's just difficult what your priorities are. You just need to, figure out if that's in fact what you want to do. Let's see here. Jock says, hey, I like your channel so much. I subscribe for both my personal and work accounts. Jock, I appreciate that, man. Really do. If I can help you or understand anything, please let me know. All right. We've got Jonathan saying, shalom, y'all. What's up, Jonathan? Great to have you here, my friend. All right, should we get back to this? What's this news about the 3 XRP ETFs? I got you. Let's get into that real quick. So we're looking right here, my friend. All right, so if you guys, part of being in the crypto space is following the right people to get the right information. Status is definitely one of those accounts that I feel has interest of the community and wants to put out really reliable and good information. So if you're not following Status, STEDAS, you probably should. He's a pretty good guy. And so here are the XRP ETF trading in Canada. This is what it's looking like. So the 3 companies that we've gotten information for are 3IQ, Evolve, and Purpose. As you can see here, this is how much assets under management that they have. And so 3IQ is here at 2 billion. Evolve here is at 7 billion, and Purpose Investments is at 23 billion. So a lot of really good opportunity here. It was great to see. XRP spot ETFs getting approved, around the globe here. This is just, Canada. I do think regulators in the US kind of need to figure out what they want to do here. I just did a video about, why haven't we seen a spot XRP ETF? What's holding it back? That should come out either later today or tomorrow. I'd advise you to take a look at that. All right. So yeah, we're going to get into ZBIC or Flare. That's tough. That's really hard. I think right now there's a lot of bullish momentum around ZBIC. I mean, it has been pumping pretty hard the last few months. So it's difficult. I would just start capturing information on both. ZBIC should be at a lower market cap than Flare, but we'll have to see how that turns out. All right, let me do this. Let me get back into some of this news. Philip, good to see you, man. How's it going? Is Judge Torres going to make a decision soon? So yeah, nothing happens quickly in the world of judges and lawsuits and things like that. It's a very slow rolled process. The hard part here is like there was already a decision made here by the judge, right? The SEC, wanted this decision. They wanted to keep pressing forward. Then you had their shift change from the Biden administration to the Trump administration, and a complete different view on what policy should be. And so, how quickly they would like to back all of this up, I would love for this all to be done already, but it is a slow and tedious process. And, hopefully it'll get resolved sooner than later. I did see some dates. I think it was in August is the next kind of hearing or whatever, but we can cover that here in just a little bit. How long will XRP go? How low will XRP go? I don't know, man. I think a lot of people are always trying to figure this out. And what's funny? People always said me, stories about wanting to DCA into XRP. And they always said to me like, Sensei, I was trying to get it to like $1.80 and it came down to $1.81 and I missed my buy, by like a penny. And I just think it's funny. Sometimes we as human beings set, maybe unrealistic goals, but it's what we want, right? And I don't know. I just think it's kind of funny. All right, let's get back into some news here because I feel like we could get lost on some of these questions for a long time. We do need to talk about one of the most important things that has happened in recent history in the United States. What I want you to do here first, though, guys, if you are enjoying the information that I am providing, please hit like and please share the space so more people can jump in here. But here's what President Trump just tweeted a few days ago, and this is a big deal. So today's date is the 20th. June 20th, this was tweeted 2 days ago. So Donald Trump said the Senate just passed an incredible bill that is going to make America the undisputed leader in digital assets. Nobody will do it better. It is pure genius. Digital assets are the future, and our nation is going to own it. Excuse me. We are talking about a massive investment and big innovation. The House will hopefully move lightning fast and pass a clean Genius Act. Get it to my desk ASAP. No delays, no add-ons. This is American brilliance at its best, and we're going to show the world how to win with digital assets like never before. And so before the vote happened in the Senate, so if you haven't seen any of my content on this, or if you're not paying attention to what's happening here, this is stablecoin regulation going through the Senate. It just got passed in the Senate. It has to go to the House now. The House can edit the bill. They can vote on it how it is. Those are really the two options, right? Or they can downvote the bill. So there's three things that they can do. They can vote yes on the bill. It'll go to the president's desk. The president will sign it into law. They can edit the bill. If the House edits the Genius Act in any way, it will have to go back to the Senate before it would go to the president's desk if approved. And this could be voted down where it doesn't get past the House, and that would basically kill stablecoin regulation in the United States. I don't think that's going to happen, but those are the three options we have here. But this is kind of like what it was like on the House floor before the vote and kind of leading up to it. I just want to show you. I'm not going to play this full 3 minutes, but here, this is kind of what it looks like in this government hall here.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, on a bipartisan basis, the Senate will pass its first major digital asset legislation ever, the Genius Act. With this bill, the United States is one step closer to becoming the global leader in crypto. The Genius Act establishes a pro-growth regulatory framework for payment stablecoins. This bill will cement U.S. dollar dominance. It will protect customers. It will drive demand for U.S. treasuries, and it will ensure that digital asset innovation happens in the United States of America, not abroad. With Genius, the value of stablecoins will be pegged to the U.S. dollar and backed one-to-one by cash and short-term U.S. treasuries. This will provide certainty and confidence for more wide-scale adoption of this transformational technology. By combining the dollar's advantages with the speed and
all right, I don't need to play the rest of that, but you get to understand how important this is here. Chat sign grabbers posting stuff. State banking regulators have raised strong objections to a provision in the Genius Act that would allow state banks to operate nationwide without authorization from states or federal regulators. So this is one of the things in the Genius Act that the House might change. And so if they do start changing things, it could take a little bit longer. They're trying to get this all finished by the recess that happens in August. If you're asking kind of what the Genius Act is going to do, so, like summarized, here is some good information. I went over this in a video I put out a few days ago. So here it is. Who can issue stablecoins? Insured depository of subsidiary, federal qualified issuer, or state qualified issuer. Qualification factors: ability to meet reserve requirements, previous felony offenses. So if you have any kind of felonies, you're not going to be able to participate in this. Competence, experience, and integrity of officers. So you need to have, obviously any kind of banks or financial institutions are used to all of this already. Reserves, they need to be 1-for-1 backing in Federal Reserve balances, cash, demand deposits, or treasury instruments. So treasury bills, T-bills, is what is mainly used to do all this. And then redemption and disclosure: clear procedures for timely redemption. Issuers must publish a monthly audited reserve report plus annual independent audit. Talked about Fed versus state. Federal licensing supersedes state requirements. OCC chartered issuers are exempt from state MTL. States can license issuers if they have substantial similarity to federal requirements and 10 billion outstanding. And it does talk about some custody. So interesting to see how all this plays out. Here is the US Genius Act versus the EU MiCA regulations, kind of the differences in both. I'm not going to read all of this stuff to you. I don't want to put you to sleep, but if you're interested in knowing the difference, you can pause it here and take a look at that. I'm not going to get into that too much here. I did want to show you here's an 8-second clip of the vote being passed in the Senate. This is just historic.
The yeas are 68, the nays are 30. The bill as amended is passed.
So that's just a really cool thing to see. It does look like we did start talking about these ETFs that are starting to get approved in Canada. It'll be interesting to see how much money starts to come in from these. And what kind of impact that will have on price. We talk about this in my videos. If you're interested in my long form videos, take a look, and I get into all that. South Korean authorities submit spot crypto ETF approval roadmap. So it does look like South Korea is trying to push forward with their own crypto ETF approvals. Remember, the outside of Bitcoin in South Korea, XRP is the most popular cryptocurrency. It would be shocking to me not to see an XRP ETF, but as we get more information, I will update you. I did want to take a look here, like what is stopping spot ETF approvals in the United States? Like, is it because of the Ripple and SEC case? The approval of a US spot XRP ETF before the complete resolution of the Ripple case is not impossible, but it is highly unlikely, and the current landscape strongly suggests that the SEC is waiting for more legal clarity before making the final decision. So if you're interested in kind of going through all these key factors, I got a video coming out either later today or tomorrow that gets into all this in detail. Just didn't want to spend too much time here in the live chat going through all of this. Here is, the odds of a crypto ETFs being approved in 2025 keeps going up. It's above 90%. Here are what ETFs that firms are looking to approve in the crypto space. As you can see, the two most popular in this snapshot here are Solana and, of course, XRP. It does look like you have more financial institutions interested in XRP over Solana, barely though, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it doesn't have all of them here, right? Because I think there's 11 or 12 with XRP now in the United States, but here's 95% this gets done in 2025. We're really hoping that that happens sooner than later. Somebody was asking about SHX. I wanted to just kind of talk about it more and give you some updates about what's been going on recently. The weekly chart is SHX is pure art. This person is saying one of the rare altcoins that has been in a consistent uptrend since 2023, unlike most older names that continue to bleed against Bitcoin and the US dollar. Is just pointing out this, SHX chart. So this definitely has been in an uptrend for quite some time here. This is what he was pointing out. And, if this continues to climb, obviously, 2 cents, 3 cents, maybe even as high as 5 or 10 cents here over the next few months, this would be very interesting to see how far it can climb. If you're wondering what token this is, let me just show you here in Coin Market Cap. It's called Stronghold. What? What? I haven't seen that. Hold on. Let me just close that. That doesn't sound, that don't look right there. Hold on here. Let's present. Let me just go bring this back up. That was weird. What the heck? MetaMask flagged your site as potentially deceptive. That is crazy. Hold on. Let me just. That's weird. My MetaMask's not even open. Hold on. Let's go to. I don't know why CoinMarketCap is having anti-phishing problems. That is very strange. Let's go to CoinMarketCap. Was it CoinGecko? Man, I haven't used CoinGecko in freaking years. But here, let me pull this up. Let me share the screen. That was a weird error there. I haven't seen that error before. So SHX, let's see. Here it is, Stronghold. As you can see, this thing is on a dip here. But I know people have been adding, this is 70 million market cap. The reason, I think this could do pretty well. I mean, if you're comparing it to, any other ISO token like Algorand, Algorand is sitting here at 1.4 billion. XLM is multiple billions, right? XLM's market cap is 7.5 billion. I mean, you have room to grow here is what I'm just trying to get at. So a lot of people are interested in SHX. I did want to show you some information about, why people might be interested in this. ISO compliant, built on Stellar, CBDC, and real-world asset ready. Hold on, is this? Yes, SHX. So it is built on Stellar. Actually, I don't know if I realized that the first few months, but I do know it now. It says CBDC and real world asset ready, featuring one of the Ferris token release plans. This has like kind of everything that SHX is trying to do. If you're interested, I will post this. I just didn't want to spend too much time going through this because I know a lot of you guys might not be in this token. So if you're interested in getting more information, why is it going down? The whole market's going down, bro. Like the Iran and Israel conflict, it's summertime. There's all kinds of things why the market is kind of not cooperating right now. Are you familiar with what's going on in the Middle East? Those type of geopolitical events often hurt the market. You can actually look at when this whole attack started. Go look at Bitcoin's price in correlation to when that happened. You'll notice an immediate correlation between those two things. Hold on, I'm just trying to catch up on some chat here. I think you guys are just arguing about the price. I have no idea. All right, let's just get back to the news here. Here's a clip. ZBIC is building programmable money. Gate Nok is building programmable trust. It's a perfect fit. Let me play this.
Why do you think it's important that ZEC has brought Gate Nok into its ecosystem now?
I think it's a perfect fit. ZEC focuses on building the ecosystem and building their own rails. They brought payroll into the ecosystem, but then if you bring payroll, you need to address the other side, hence the card, so people can spend money that they receive from their employers. So again, ZEC is focusing on programmable money. Gate Nok has been focusing on programmable trust. So this is, in my opinion, perfect trust, and I'm happy that ZEC feels the same way.
All right, another clip here. ZBIC SOC2 power play, unlocking ISO in partnership with governments, university, and financial institutions. Why ZBIC is pursuing SOC 2 compliance. SOC 2 compliance is important in the US, and it's a requirement for partners and enterprise clients to obtain certification. Let me play this.
Talk us through SOC 2 and what that means and why it matters.
Oh, I can't do both at the same time. Sorry.
And maybe some of the other things that you're looking at along those lines.
Absolutely. So yes, as you said, ZEC is currently pursuing SOC 2 compliance. We are in process with that. And this really comes down to data protection and data security, which I alluded to earlier with the Gate Nok acquisition. It's incredibly important in the US, and it's a requirement for many partners and enterprise clients to have this certification. And what it does is it sets up ZEC network to work with much larger institutions, including governments, universities, and financial institutions. So it expands our reach, expands the number of clients and type of clients that we can serve. And it's also part of our broader ISO roadmap, being kind of one of the earlier steps in getting to ISO certification.
I guess talk us through SOC 2 and what that means and why it matters, and maybe some of the other things that you're looking at along those lines.
Absolutely. So yes, as you said, ZEC is currently pursuing SOC 2 compliance. We're in process with that. And this really comes down to data protection and data security, which I alluded to earlier with the Gate Nok acquisition. It's incredibly important.
All right. Sorry, I was trying to do one more thing on the side here as I was setting this up. So if you're interested in knowing about this, right, ZBIC actually has some pretty big partnership with Circle and lots of really good information floating around. I'm starting to see some pretty big numbers tuning in to ZBIC's updates. This is something you probably should be paying attention to, should be learning about. I am still adding to my ZBIC bag over the next few weeks here. They do have, some collaborations with partners like Ripple and Circle. So that's good to see. And I thought this was a cool clip too. Here, let me play this.
As things go on and they get that certification, that means ZEC will be able to work with entities like universities, other large financial institutions. And guess what? Like I said in videos way back, they would be able to work with government. Now that right there, I told you guys, remember in the past video, I said, imagine ZEC working with government. Imagine them government employees being able to get paid around the clock. Imagine people getting their salaries like that, maybe even the military, how groundbreaking that would be. Well, getting that certification in SOC 2 would allow them to do that. Not only this, guys, and get this, this is also getting that certification is a part of their broader roadmap to their whole goal of being ISO compliant, guys.
All right. And then let me see, is this another clip?
Life's best moments.
Oh, it's
the now.
I don't need to show you a commercial. Okay, I did want to bring this up though, because I know there's people still asking questions about like what's been going on and updates and things like that. I just wanted to touch. I did touch on this last week at the 40-minute mark. If you're interested in getting that update, I did want to highlight the GoFundMe page again for the Munisy victims. If you are interested, if you are interested in supporting my channel at all with a donation of $5, $10, $20, anything like that, instead of doing that, I'm asking if you would go to this GoFundMe page. There is a link in the description of this video and try to donate anything you can. I would really appreciate it. That is going 100% to help some of the victims affected by the Munisy protocol rug. Please, if you have any ability to help, I would greatly appreciate you. All right. Thank you very much. Let's keep it going here. A few other things we should get into before I answer some of your questions. We talked about earlier about Fed wires move to ISO. I don't want people to get too married to this date of July 14th. I would love to see XRP explode on a random day. I just don't think it's going to be correlated to, ISO on July 14th. Personally, I could be totally wrong here, guys, but I've made some of these calls in the past and we've been right on most of these things. And so just be very careful not getting attached to any type of dates. I thought this was cool. USDC plus XRPL e-commerce Shopify. We know that companies like Walmart, Target, and AWS and all these online retailers are going to be getting into stablecoins. This says the Ripple protocol as a new protocol for international settlement is widely used and distributed cross-border e-commerce payment systems due to blockchain technology adoption. The Ripple cross-border e-commerce payment system is associated with its network through a gateway facilitating real-time payment for financial settlement institutions and banks. It is achieved through Ripple's network, thus enabling global real-time decentralized cross-border payments. Let me play this for Coinbase.
Coming into payments in a big way. And for years, we've been working on the building blocks here of having a stable coin that's trusted and regulated with USDC, with a more scalable blockchain like Base. Toby Lutke at Shopify and we would meet and we'd think about, okay, how can we get this ready for prime time? And some of those pieces fell into place with a trusted stablecoin, a scalable crypto network. But the last piece that we really had to build was actually a new smart contract that replicated some of the functionality of credit cards that people use in e-commerce. So people don't realize this often, but when you go pay for something in e-commerce, the merchant does what's called an authorization on your card, but they don't actually capture the funds until they reserve the inventory and they calculate taxes. They have to figure out shipping. And so credit cards have this kind of off, capture, void, refund functionality. And with Shopify and Coinbase, we actually were able to replicate that in a smart contract on chain. It's open source. And so people have been talking about the programmable money that crypto can bring for years, and it's now finally ready. Love to hear it. Interesting to see Kraken relocates headquarters to Wyoming. I wonder if Ripple is going to follow suit. There has been a lot of talk about Ripple becoming a bank. And, I think it's very interesting to talk about this. I've made several videos about this. I think it's a clear next step for what Ripple is trying to do, being a lender of last resort. And I'll keep you up to date when I find it. It does look like Coindesk is doing kind of some more hit pieces on XRP. Don't want to get into this too much, but, Coindesk and all of these other, crypto, some of these crypto news agencies, or I guess you want to call them, are owned by certain people who have agendas. This is kind of watching, cable news. You never really knowing what you're getting. Is it, is this opinionated and whatnot? But anyways, it's out there. It does look like AVAX. We talked about this on Tuesday. AVAX chain right now is seeing a huge amount of growth. C chain, 1 million plus daily transactions every single day. L1 subnets, 300 million transactions already this month. AVAX is growing extremely quickly right now, guys. You want to be paying attention to that. Lots of opportunity there. AVAX setup is looking identical to low mid-November 2024, which followed a 150% rally. This is almost identical. Take a look at this. Very, very close chart pattern here. And man, I think there's a lot of upside to AVAX at this time. I did want to talk really quickly about what we're seeing right now numbers wise, in the US job market. So right now, US labor market is deteriorating beneath the surface. Full-time employment plummeted by 623,000 in May, posting the fourth largest monthly decline in 5 years. This was also the second monthly drop this year. As a result, full-time employment share of the labor force fell to 79%, the lowest since August 2021, like as we were getting out of this, C19. This ratio has been declining for 3 years now. Declining labor intensity indicates softening demand for full-time workers. Cracks in the U.S. job market are becoming increasingly apparent. I mean, this should be no surprise. We talked about this at length the last few months. When you are creating less goods into the economy, you need less people to put those goods together, whatever they are. If you're making widgets and, you go from making 1,000 widgets a month to making 500 widgets a month, you probably don't need half the labor that you had before. You are seeing, extreme drops across the board in all this stuff. Here's some other current situations to look out for if you are participating in U.S. markets. Stock market futures are falling like the war is escalating that. Gold prices are falling like a peace deal is near. Oil prices are rising like the war is escalating. Yields are rising like a peace deal is near. Natural gas prices are rising like the war is escalating. Silver prices are falling like a peace deal is near. The market can't make up its mind. It is kind of confusing. You are starting to see a little bit more here. Annual interest expense on U.S. debt has reached $1.2 trillion over the last 12 months. In other words, the U.S. is now paying $3.3 billion in interest per day. Man, imagine you paying $3 billion in interest per day. Oh, God. Annual interest expense has now surpassed health and defense expenditures by $300 billion. Interest costs
are now the second largest government expense, just 300 billion below Social Security. As a result, interest payments reflect 18% of all taxes paid, just shy of the record 19% seen in the 1980s when interest rates were higher than 19%. I did want to show a few more things here. U.S. technology jobs are declining. Information technology jobs in San Francisco and Northern Silicon Valley fell to 107,000 in April, the lowest since June 2020. Since August 2022, the industry has lost 25,000 jobs, or 19%. By comparison, after the 2000 dot-com bubble, the tech industry lost 29% of its jobs in 18 months and did not start to recover until 2011. Furthermore, the professional, scientific, and technical services industry jobs fell 207,000 in April, the lowest since June 2020. Since June 2022, these industries have recorded 21,000 job losses, or 9% of the total. This brings the total job losses for all tech-related industries to 47,000 since the mid-2022 peak. There's also some things to take a look at here. The president is calling for a 250 basis point rate cut. The U.S. is on the brink of joining the war in Iran. Trump said that he would consider joining the war in Iran. He said he'd give 2 weeks to decide what he's going to do. So we'll see how that, obviously, if the U.S. does engage and gets into another war in the Middle East, that could have really bad consequences on the stock market, as well as maybe the crypto market for U.S. investors. CPI inflation has fallen toward the Fed's 2% target. U.S. effective tariff rates are near their highest in history. So tariff rates, this is all, I don't know how this is going to turn out, guys. July 9th was the 90-day pause window. Hold on. Did they get any more deals, or is it still just the one? How many trade tariff deals has the U.S. signed? Let me see. Let me get that information in just a second here. U.S. households allocation to stocks fell 1.3%. Quarter 1 2025 to 43.1, lowest since quarter 1 2024. This marks the largest quarterly decline since the 2022 bear market. However, households stock allocation as a percentage of financial assets is still well above the 2000 dot-com bubble peak of 38%. To put this into perspective, at the low of the 2008 financial crisis, allocation to equities was around 19%. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let me see if we were able to see any deals here. Comprehensive trade deals. U.S.-China deal, that's, I don't think, still not signed. The UK, the deal, that was an agreement that was going, and the rest are still ongoing. So you still had about, I think there's been 140 tariff policies since the beginning of the year. You have maybe 2 agreements here, maybe 3 agreements, and 97 agreements to go. And you have 19 days. You have 19 days to get those agreements done. So if those agreements are not done by July 9th, there's only a few options here. One, Trump could extend the delay on the tariffs. Trump could drop all the tariffs, but that probably has some ramifications of him looking weak. And then also another thing is to let all of the tariffs go into effect. And if that would be the case, it would be the highest tariffs in 100 years that the U.S. has faced. And so I don't really need to get into all of the ramifications if that were to actually happen, but you can imagine that would be a very tough time in a lot of people's lives. All right, enough with the depressing news about the tariffs and all that stuff. That is an update. We got 1,500 people here, 1,460, excuse me, 1,000 people on Twitter, 1,080, 380 here on YouTube. Let's see here if we got, so question, Sensei, here's a question from Pete. Is the spot ETF holds XRP 1-to-1? Why doesn't it reflect? So spot ETFs do affect price, and ETFs can be different. Some funds represent a certain amount of XRP. I've seen some funds representing like 20 shares of XRP is like 1 share of the ETF. So I think everything's a little different. but that does affect, right? If you look back at just, if you want to understand how this works, go and research the Bitcoin spot ETF inflows, because you've already seen this happen, right? You have Bitcoin, which is probably a good comparison to look at. And then you had Ethereum, which probably is not the best to look at because people really just didn't care. But you do have information on like inflows for spot Bitcoin ETFs and how much that impacted the market cap. And it absolutely has an impact. All right. I do get into this in my content. Let me see if I can find the video that you probably want to watch about this. Ooh, let me see. I make so much content. It's hard for me to remember. It's been in the past. Yeah. I don't know. It is hard. Sometimes I go off on, like I start talking about something and then I'll just randomly bring that up into the video. Let me here. All you need to do is go to Perplexity. Here, let me show you this. All right. And say, I want to understand spot Bitcoin ETF inflows to how much that affected the overall market cap of Bitcoin. Was there market cap multipliers present? Hold on. Multipliers present. Give me all the detail you can. All right. Let's see if that can pull up some information. I can answer this question like as we're going through this. Okay. Just give me a second. Let that come up. What other questions we got here? ETH ETF was a flop. It was, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's probably not a good comparison to look at. Oh man, that was bad. That was bad. Let me see if this thing came up with anything though. Yeah, here you go. Here, let's take a look at this together. So I'll read this to you as I'm learning about it myself here. So spot Bitcoin ETF inflows. Let me just make sure we're sharing the right screen here so you can see what I'm seeing. Absolutely. So here we go. Inflows have significantly impacted. So here you go. Significantly impacted Bitcoin's market capitalization. All right. Through a multiplier effect where each dollar invested in the ETF drives a disproportionately larger increase in Bitcoin's market value. So let's take a look at some actual numbers here. So supply demand dynamics, ETF purchase of actual Bitcoin tightening supply as demand rises via inflows, the fixed supply magnifies price appreciation. So here is some actual information from this 25x. JMP Securities estimates 220 billion in ETF inflows. Well, this is kind of like a guesstimate on future price getting into 280,000, but I wanted to look at some history. Oh, here you go. Apollo Crypto observed a 48.2x multiplier historically. Here it is. 9.5 billion inflows increased the market cap of Bitcoin by $458 billion. So this is how I would go about researching what you just said, right? Like you take the idea and you look for something in the market that we've already had experience in, and you work your way backwards through it. And so, we could spend an hour on this subject, but I hope that helps you figure out a place where you can find this information out yourself really quickly. If you wanted to really dive into the details, we don't quite understand how much of an impact or a market cap multiplier the spot XRP ETF will have, because there's even less liquidity in the XRP ecosystem than, let's say, Bitcoin. So you should have a bigger market cap multiplier. That would be the logical way to look at that, in my opinion, but we'll have to see. Let's see here. So Ruben says, what do you think about the Fed making their own stablecoin? So that's a CBDC, right? So you're talking about a CBDC. So if the government issues their own, dollar, that probably would be considered a CBDC. I guess the Fed could create like their own stable, but like but then you're using taxpayer money to back it up. Like it's really like a CBDC. It's really like a CBDC. You could classify it as something else. You could say it's something else, but when you do that, it's like creating a central bank digital currency. And we've already heard, from the Trump administration that they're not interested in any of that. I mean, if you look, so Ripple is one of the leading companies in the world for stablecoin, central bank digital currency technology, and even Ripple removed it off their website. Like you cannot find on Ripple's website anywhere where it says CBDC. I mean, you might be able to find it like buried, but here, like before, if you had checked Ripple's website as many times as kind of like I did in the past, because you're researching this and you kind of know what's on here, under the solution used to say CBDCs. It used to say CBDCs. Now it's just payments, custody, and stablecoins. So I don't know. I think Ripple is trying not to get too much heat brought on them for being in the stablecoin market, in the CBDC market, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I've seen like, JP Morgan, Citibank, Bank of America, like the big four banks talking about creating a stablecoin that they're going to use, between each other. That's a very interesting idea that I'm researching to better understand how would that even work, right? Because a lot of these banks, when they're going to create a stablecoin, they're creating a stablecoin for their bank and their operations. But if you're creating a stablecoin and it's like another bank stablecoin, and you're holding that stablecoin, now you're taking on risk. And so it's just going to depend on, how much risk these banks are willing to take on. And we'll get into it. Pete, absolutely, man. Did that help you better understand it? Do I need to get into that? Anything else, or are you good now? I just want to make sure that, you know what to do. You know how to look for it now. You kind of understand it a little bit better. If we need to touch on anything else, Pete, you let me know. We'll do that. Okay, bud? Thank you. Awesome, man. Great to hear, brother. Great to hear. I heard Uphold was talking about an IPO. So, there's going to be a lot of companies that have different strategies with what they want to do, right? I know when Brad Garlinghouse was asked this question recently, maybe like, what was this, like 6 months ago, 5-6 months ago? Brad had said that at that time, maybe this was actually not even that, maybe because it was after Trump was elected. So excuse me, it couldn't have been 6 months ago. This was maybe like February. Brad was asked if Ripple was going to IPO. And at that time, the market was a little, and at the time, Brad said that they weren't as interested in IPOing at that time. So I don't know. I think every company is at different places of what they're trying to do. And I believe Ripple has, their internal roadmap of what they're trying to achieve. And if they think an IPO is going to, distract or not get them to where they want to go, like right now, I don't think that's a priority for them. Listening to them talk about it, I don't think it's a priority for Ripple, but it could be a priority for Uphold. I just don't have that information. Let's see here. Screech says the Fed could create their own entire blockchain and completely is independent. Absolutely. Screech, you're absolutely right. The issue, that comes to my mind when I'm thinking about that is how long is it going to take to build that? Right? Because you have to remember these central banks and these institutions have been testing, HBAR and XRP and XLM and these things. They've been testing this stuff for 5 years, 10 years, right? If the government were to create their own blockchain tomorrow, right? So first things first, you have to hire a team, okay? The governments are usually bad about, they're not software companies. They're not developers. So the government would go out and they would hire a team to build it, okay? Or they would go find technology that is already established, and then they would make an offer and take that technology over. But regardless, once they have the technology, there's a bunch of other stuff that needs to happen. One thing is you have to have the technology audited. You have to have the technology sandbox. You have to have the technology tested by institutions. And then also, how are you going to fund it, right? So you take a look at like the liquidity that Circle has, or USDT or Ethereum or any of these larger networks. They have 100 billion or whatever the number is. They have billions of dollars worth of liquidity on them already. If the US were to do this themselves, they would have to figure out how to fund that with liquidity. And so if you're going to use taxpayer money, you would need to get Congress involved. And if you got Congress involved, I mean, that's a headache on itself, right? Everybody wants different things. So could the government do this? 100% they could. Is it probable? In my eyes, right now, not so much, but you never know. CBDCs controlled by the federal government would be very, very bad. Yeah. I mean, government prints money now, don't they? I mean, it would be easier for them to print, redeem money and just create it out of thin air. But you know, that's we could sit here for hours debating if it's right, if it's wrong, what they should do, what they shouldn't do. We don't have any of that power. So you are right on a bunch of different levels here, and giving them more power and more greed, more control. That's a bad thing. So I agree with you on that, very much so. Samuel, you said XRP question mark. I need a little bit more than that, my friend. Unless you're talking with somebody here. Yeah, I think it still is, Mike. I think it still is. Hold on. Let's find out. How much longer is the Flare airdrop to XRP holders? Let me see here. Oh, let me pull this up. There you go. The Flare airdrop to XRP holders distributed over a 36-month period. The initial 15% of Flare tokens were distributed early 2023. The remaining 85% just goes to January 30th, 2026. January 30th, 2026, Mike. Good question, though, Mike. Thank you. I like you and I want you. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. That sounds interesting. Okay. What are we doing the easy way or what are we doing the hard way? Is this like a dramatic entry scene where you're going to like, I'm interested to see how this is going to turn out. It's fucking monopoly. So most of crypto is, right? I think most people don't understand that the majority of the crypto market is technology that will never be adopted. It was technology that's going to fail. It's technology that, you know, has more hype than actual utility. There's a large swath of the market that is going nowhere. And, you know, it's all risk. It's just what level of risk are you okay with? But it's all risk. Bitcoin, XRP, HBAR, they have less risk than, let's say, a meme coin or a new DeFi project or a new anything, but there's still risk, right? There could be hacks. There could be the team falls apart, the technology falls apart. I mean, it's all fucking monopoly. Any word on Ripple's next acquisition? Man, if I knew, I would be shouting it from the rooftops. I definitely would. I did a video maybe a few weeks ago talking about what companies that they might look to buy. I could do like a refresh on that if you like. Definitely. Well, Richard's here. What's up, Richard? Good to see you, man. So what is going to happen with a rate cut? So let's look at the CME tool, man. I mean, they have something for this, right? CME rate cut tool. Let's see what's that. Let's see what's that. Here we go. Let's see. Where is it? It's right here. Okay. So target rate possibilities for July 30th, 2025 Fed meeting. You have 83% currently. Basically, it stays the same. And you have a 16.5 that they are going to lower it. So as this changes, we'll update you, but we still have a pretty long way. July 30th is, you know, we still have 40 days before that happens. So if I move some XRP to Flare, Will I get it, or do I need to buy it on Flare? Blackhawk, maybe there's some people in the community, like in the chat, that knows that. I don't participate too much doing in this, so I wouldn't be the best person to ask, but maybe somebody in the chat knows. Okay. Hard way not using P. Diddy baby oil. Oh, too soon. I can't even watch like that stuff, man. Like the trial or anything like that. I don't know. I never liked, I'm from California, right? So like when I was a kid growing up, it was, Tupac and West Coast rappers versus East Coast rappers. I did think Biggie Smalls, had just a beautiful way of taking words and putting them together and just telling a story. But like, I didn't like P. Diddy for the fact that, I was more like Tupac, Dre, Ice Cube. Yeah. Link to what? Jessa. What's up, Jessa? Great to see you. How are you? Man, we got 1,500 people here. So we have 1,223 people on Twitter and 356 here on YouTube. So people are coming back. It's interesting. We've been last few weeks, people have been kind of hit or miss, but love to see you guys here. Josh Taylor watching from Wales, UK. I watch every day. Josh, thank you, man. Thank you. Hey, do you watch Wrexham? I know that's like a what's it called, but one of my favorite TV shows is watching Wrexham and Wrexham football. Man, you guys got something special there with all of that, and it's really, really interesting. Let's see here. Kepson says, have you heard about Cubic? I've heard about it. I own some, but if you ask me to explain what Cubic does, I am freaking lost at sea with no paddle, man. I try, like, I pulled up the white paper one time and like I got through a few pages and it was just like, it was too much for me. Like, and I just kind of gave up. But I do own some. I haven't really paid attention to it recently though. It's nothing crazy. Maybe like I bought like $1,000 or $1,500, like 2 years ago or something. Regarding the acquisitions. Oh yeah, I can make a video about that, my man. You want me to make a video about that? I could do that. That's a good idea. Here. Let me put a note in my thing right here. Okay. Videos to create. Ripples next session. All right, I got you. That guy. Tupac was badass, man. Really badass. Man, they just been able to put all those words together, man. Music videos. Remember the music videos back in like the 90s? Music videos in the 90s where like they would spend like $1 million on a music video and they had a boat and like, man, you were just like, that is next level. Now it's like they spend, $10 million on a thing. It's, I don't know. It felt more majestic back then, Oh, your sister lives there? Oh man. I am engaged. With every Thursday. We try to go to sleep, pretty early, and it comes on at like 9:00. And so if I stay up the whole time, I get really excited and then I can't sleep. So we usually watch Wrexham on Fridays. So I haven't seen it yet this week, but we're gonna watch it tonight. But it's one of my favorite shows, man. Just like it's able to take you and just fill you with joy and inspiration and love, man. It's a good show. Oh, Jessa says, I'm doing great. Love watching your videos, especially live ones. I learned a lot from you. Thank you. Absolutely, Jessa. Thank you for being here. We all learn from each other. This is just fantastic that you're here. Thank you so much. Let's see here. So Christopher's talking about the Flare airdrop. He says, I always assumed that the airdrop for Flare isn't available to new users. It's not. You had to have XRP in one of the like wallets it was a snapshot, and it was back in like 2020 or something. I think it was it? Oh, I think I'm getting, you know what? Let me just get you let me just find out. When was the Flare snapshot? I keep forgetting that I have this, AI tool now that I could just ask it any question I want and get an answer within like 5 to 10 seconds. It's like rediscovering Google, The Flare snapshot was taken December 12th, 2020. See, I was going to say the 20th, but I think that's when Ripple got sued or whatever. So there you go. I got you. So Hamo says, do you think it will be hard for XRP to hit $10 or $20 by the end of the year? So do I think it'll be hard? I personally don't think it hard. See, like, what is your definition of hard, right? I think that Ripple has a lot going for it. The XRP ledger has a lot going for it. I think there's a lot of outside factors that could affect it. Somebody that I really, really respect in the XRP space, Jake Claver. And, every time I see like someone joking around about $1,000 XRP, I always send a message to Jake and I'm like, hey man, did you say this right? I'm trying to confirm with him. And, there's a perfect storm in which, some of us believe that XRP could hit 3 or 4 digits, over the next 6 to 12 months. So, is it crazy to think XRP could hit $10 or $20? I don't think so. If we can get stablecoin regulation approved and put into law, if we get banks, financial institutions that announce that they're building, let's say, a stablecoin on the XRP ledger, that could have tremendous impact. If we start the tokenization of financial assets, if derivatives started to really appear on the XRP ledger in mass quantities, if you had stocks, bonds, real estate, all that stuff, I think will take a little bit more time. But that could start being added and that could bring tremendous value overnight. And then ETFs, they're, if we can get $10 billion in ETFs to come in, and those ETFs have a 50 or 100x multiplier, that could be $500 billion or $1 trillion worth of, market cap that could, push the price up into, $10, $20 pretty quickly. So is it possible? Absolutely. Do we have a crystal ball? We do not. So we can hope, we can pray. That's pretty much all we can do, and stay up to date with news and information and try to make the best educated decisions that we can. But thank you for the question. Let's see here. Which are you more bullish on, Ondo or Quant? I think they're both solving different problems. I think in the grand scheme of things, they both have great utility. I think they're still pretty under wraps with, people's knowledge about them. Quant, it shocks me that Quant's price isn't more. But if you take a look at where we are currently in the market, a lot of people think we're at utility. We're not at utility. We're all just speculating on where we think these things are going to go. And when you have assets that are from, 5 years or from 8 years ago, I think Quant launched in 2018 or something, or 2019. So this has been around for almost 2 full markets. Sometimes the buzz and the energy can go to other things. And I think that's what you're seeing with stuff like VeChain and Quant and some of these other assets that have been around for multiple cycles. Sometimes focusing on something newer like Ondo might be a little bit more refreshing. In the long run, though, I do think Quant has just incredible connections, good technology. I wouldn't count either one of those projects out. Hard to say one way or another, though. Are we talking this cycle? Are we talking in the next 10 years? I think that would change my answer dramatically. Oh, MTV was awesome in the 80s, man. What was it, like Kurt Loder or whatever? What was his name? Man, I remember used to get off school and that was the one thing you used to do. You used to slap on MTV and oh god, what were the show? Yeah, they were counting down the best music videos and stuff. That was good times, man. California Love, best song ever. I know every lyric for California Love. Almost every lyric. I used to have this really dark tint on my car. So when my Spotify would come on with some old Tupac or Dr. Dre or something like that, I could just do my own thing and I wouldn't have to worry about people staring at me. And, more recently, my wife and I, just downsized to one car since I work from home, and there's no tint on that car. And so when I'm, doing my thing, sometimes it could be a little embarrassing if I get caught, dancing by myself in the car, but it's all good. Aloha from the Ninth Island. What's up, Brett? Great to have you here. Ninth Island. Are we talking about Las Vegas? Sensei, do you remember Kaza or LimeWire? Oh yeah, of course, man. LimeWire was what was the first one? The first one was what's it called, right? Napster. Remember Napster? Who sued them? Was it Metallica? I think Metallica sued them, right? And that was like, it used to be, I feel like scammers found out quickly that people were just downloading everything onto their computer from, they would label it something and it would be something else. And if you're not skilled, yeah, I think when I was a kid, I probably downloaded some stuff on my computer that I probably shouldn't have. All right. Good. Oh, here, let me go down. I keep forgetting when I'm answering some questions up here that like you guys were all down below here. Doctor was awesome. Doctor's still awesome, man. Dr. Dre, one of my favorite rappers of all time, man. Have you interviewed Jake Claver? I have, and I've actually reached out to Jake's team to bring him on. So we're working out a time and date right now to do that. Me and Jake have had multiple conversations in the past. Just really smart, heartfelt guy, really well connected. I really value his opinion and what he can bring to the table and the scene. And, he's got a really good team of people around him too. Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star. That was really bad. I miss Oceanside, California. Man, you guys are, yep. I know the Ninth Island. You playing World Series or you live in Vegas? Like what's going on? Napster. Yeah. See Napster. You know what's up. When do you think XRP will hit $1,000 from the UK by the balls? Great to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. See, like, I think it's going to, I still think like, I think it would be silly of me to get up here and say this is going to happen tomorrow, right? Because I really believe that this is going to take some time. Now, could there be like a flip of the switch moment where we get this, insane amount of utility in a very short time period? I think something like that very well could happen. I want to bring Jake on because I want to know what he sees, right? Like how is he looking at $1,000 XRP like this year? How can he see that happening? And I really want to better understand his thought process and how he's looking at that. I still think this is going to take some time, man. Like I really want to believe that, this is going to happen sooner than later, but I still look at where we are regulation wise. And I see that still financial institutions are hesitant about using crypto. I don't know what it's like in the UK or Switzerland or in Japan because, I'm not, participating in those economies. When I look at like the local banks in Hawaii, none of these people are talking about using digital assets to move money or any of this stuff. So I still think there's a slow adoption curve. I think that we are in it though. I think we are starting to see institutions finally coming in. Obviously, if they came in harder, quicker, faster with more money, people would be a little bit more happy. But if you listen to the conversations from people from like BlackRock, Franklin Templeton, or any of these other bigger institutions, they're licking their lips and they want to enter the space. It just needs to be regulated for them to do that. And it starts with stablecoin regulation here in the United States, and then it gets into digital asset regulation. Once you have those two things in place, there really isn't any other excuse that banks or financial institutions can use. It's like, do you want to offer these services to your customers, or do you want to maybe not be a bank in 5 years? Because let's be honest, banks, if they don't change with the times will devour that bank, right? Or with any company. I think, the creation of the internet and the cell phone and all of these things were pivotal moments for some companies. And the companies that evolved with the technology were able to stay in business. And the companies that fought the technology, that were naysayers of the technology, those are the people and the companies that are left to the history books. And so what will that adoption look like for this particular moment in history? That is what I find so interesting and intriguing. And I'm really excited to see how all of this will play out. Metallica went after Napster. See, this is why Ariana is around. She knows a lot of really good information. See, like that. Perfect. Like, are you not happy in life where you just have to show up randomly? Like, we've been talking for an hour here, answering questions, vibing, having fun. And then, like, are you just having a bad day? Are you okay? Do you need something? All right. If you're going to be here, try to be respectful of the people around you, including me. All right. Or we can just end your whole thing here. All right. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you for leaving a comment. Have a wonderful weekend. Let's see what else we got here. I got old NWA tapes before the first album came out. Eazy-E. Dude, Eazy-E was dope. Yeah. Tough story, man. Tough story. Do you see the movie that they made about NWA? That was pretty good. That was pretty good, dude. Yeah, dude. Circle's on fire, man. Fred, absolutely. 250. I didn't. No, I'm not. My whole life revolves around the crypto space. Like I could, if I break up my time into like understanding the stock market and the crypto market, I won't be as effective in the crypto market, you know? And so like I make a decision what I'm going to put my time into and better understanding, and it's the crypto space. But like, obviously the people that were able to get in and making money right now, man, my hats are off to you. And I'm really happy for you. I think what price did it launch at? Fred, was it like $30? What were you able to, did you buy it before or after? Give me some information, man. I'd love to know. Never selling XRP. I know there's a lot of people that have, different game plans for XRP, and it'll be interesting to see how all of that plays out. I know some people will use their XRP as like, they'll go to a bank and they'll get out a loan and use the XRP as collateral. And there's a lot of really interesting use cases that you could do with that, and never having to sell your XRP. Obviously, there could be a market shift, and your loan could be called up, and there's all these other things too. But I understand your thought process of not wanting to sell. Let's see here. The By the Ball says, I feel Ripple is dropping surprises or surprise moves that no one has predicted, and that can shock us. Hey, man, I when you look around the crypto space, there's a lot of really smart people doing a lot of really, really different things. But all of these things eventually are going to come together through interoperability, right? Like you have digital IDs, and you have wallets, and you have DeFi, and you have, supply chain, and you have all of these different unique things that are all trying to move, these global economies into this next phase of digitization. And it's going to be, I think people are underestimating how much impact, AI and blockchain technology are going to have on the overall society. But the people that understand this and that are doing everything that they can right now to better understand it, I think those people that are here listening right now, I think those people are really going to be able to, have incredible impact on their lives and the people around them, right? I got into an Uber, maybe it was like 3 days ago. This is Wednesday. I got into an Uber. My wife gets her nails done, and we have one car, so I pick her up from work. I take her to the nail place, and then I Uber home, just to try to help her out there. And I get in the Uber, and the guy starts talking to me, right? And he's like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I said, "Oh, I make crypto content." He's like, "Oh, crypto," and he starts talking, right? He's talking about XRP, and he's talking about Bitcoin. He's talking about Ethereum. I was like, "Okay, I got into the right Uber." And you know, he asked me, you know, what do I make content on? And we get into this conversation. We talk for about 15 minutes. And it's really interesting. It's like some people, you know, some people can see it and some people can't. And if you are one of those people that is just now getting into this space and are just now learning about this and you're just starting to scratch the surface, it goes so many layers deep. And the quicker you can get a better understanding of what's happening around you, the better chance that you have of making some good decisions and making some life-changing money. And I think everybody that's listening right now is trying to do just that. And some of you are going to be extremely lucky, extremely well-timed, and you're going to be extremely well off. Some others are going to have, you know, bad timing, or they'll give up and they'll move on and they'll never know what could have been. So just kind of need to decide where you are right now and how far you want to take this. Gary Riley, greetings. Love the show. How do you estimate XRP would trade for it if XRP hit 10 to 12? So XRP is a futures spot. Excuse me. XRP is a futures ETF. Futures ETFs don't have impact on price, is at least how I understand it. There was an interview that I did with, let me pull this up, with Sal, who you're talking about XRP. And let me show you this right here. This is XRP. Watch this. If you watch that, it's going to answer your question. He basically breaks it down in that interview, the impact of spot ETFs and futures ETFs. So yeah, I thought, you know, I didn't know before, but futures 100 times multiplier. So it's very difficult to figure out the multiplier. It's if you look at different data sets, right? I've run dozens of different inflows, 24-hour inflows, weekly inflows, monthly inflows. I've looked at all of this data. And I can tell you, like, the lowest market cap multiplier I found when I was doing all of this research was like anywhere from 25 to 50. I did see a lot of like 200 and 212. And sometimes you had some outliers that were like, you know, 500 or 1,000. I don't think you're going to have 500 or 1,000 multipliers, but I don't think it's so crazy to think of 25 or 50x. I think that's very close to what it'll probably be for some time until there's enough liquidity where you don't see that big of a difference. Let's see here, Lonzo Turner. What's up, Lonzo? My thing for the system ISO 20022, all the money to get this price actions we speak on already exists. It depends on how fast they flip it. Can't really call it. So remember, ISO is just the messaging standard that allows all of these financial institutions to be on the same standard. It also allows them to use cryptocurrency inside of the payment message for instant settlement, right? But what people don't understand right now is how many ISO transactions are happening per day. Has anyone, have you looked? Because I've looked. You want to see? Check this out. I'll show you. Check this out. All right. So how many global ISO 20022 transactions are happening right now per day, per month, and in 2025? Let's just see if we can pull up that information, because last time I looked at this number, it was a lot. It was like 7 figures. All right, here you go. 1.4 million. So back in December 2024, the daily average was 1.4 million. So this is what people don't understand. you're already seeing ISO transactions. What you're not seeing is the impact on the actual token price, right? Because there's not a good way to track if this payment used crypto or didn't use crypto. That is something that I have been running into as a hard way to finding out that information. Now, the reason I think you're seeing a lot of ISO transactions, but you're not seeing crypto being used, is that it's partly due to regulation, right? Like this bank is probably doing it, this bank is not doing it. Eventually, all of these banks will be doing it, right? Like you're either doing it or you're not doing it, right? And at that point, I think you can start to see some movement on the price. But a lot of people don't, I don't know why people don't just research this little piece of it, but we do take a look at this stuff around here. Let's see here. I was speaking to a good friend who is a tech guy, and one of his associates is high up at Barclays Bank. And he mentioned the deal's been signed with Ripple already. However, they're waiting for the SEC. Exactly. Thank you for sharing that, by the balls. Yeah, I think these people want to, I think these banks and institutions want to start using this, but they are not going to put their bank or their customers or their money at risk. It needs to be absolutely clear, written in stone, that they can use these things, right? Because you got to remember, the last 4 years of the Biden administration, these banks and these companies were being attacked by the SEC and Gary Gensler. And obviously, we feel a special way about it because we were the ones affected the most by this. But, I understand why institutions and banks don't want to touch crypto, because they're still dealing with all of that PTSD. Now, will that shift over the next few months and few years? I think it already has been shifting, but we still are not that inflection point yet. I think it's coming though. Let's see here. Curtis says Jake thinks the war will cause oil to rise and Japan then increases interest rates. Then the reverse carry trade unwinds. Isn't it already been unwinding? Right? Tether doesn't comply with regulation, which will run BTC and say they're crashing it. Dude, interesting. I was trying to look at some information about USDT and USDT and Bitcoin, like the correlation, and then USDC and Ethereum, and like how those stable coins and value grew, and how when they were growing, it would in fact take Bitcoin or Ethereum with it. And so I just started to look at data with those two things. And I'm trying to see, what impact RLUSD might have on XRP, right? So interesting. I mean, in the United States, right, we are drilling more oil than we've ever drilled before, right? That started under the Biden administration. So I don't know what impact that has. I think there's like a lot of this is oil that we export, and like we take in a lot of oil from Canada, and I don't know what the supply has been in the Middle East, but if anyone knows, Jake probably knows that stuff pretty well. So all right, so Will is starting to affect people in the chat. Let's just ban him. I don't. People are here to learn and grow, and if this person just wants to be a child, you have got my attention now. Now we will take care of this together. Let's see here. Live. Let's click on this. Let's mute this. Let's see. Where is this person? Did you get him, Ariana? I just don't want to deal with this person anymore. You got it? All right. Let me know if you need me to. What's it called? Because I am just, people are, I don't know if it's ignorant or what. I don't know. People ban him for life. Yeah, he's done. Let's just move on here. Yeah, you never really want to leave crypto on exchanges and stuff. If you can move crypto into a wallet that you're not using, right? I think a lot of people end up doing the right thing, moving it to some type of hardware wallet, but then they start using that hardware wallet every day, like connecting it to other stuff, maybe stuff that they shouldn't have. Like if you can separate your assets where like you have this hardware wallet that you're not connecting to anything to save your life, right? This is something that is in the safest place that you know of, right? Whether that's a bank vault, whether that's in like buried underneath your house or in your backyard under a tree, I don't know. Whatever you consider safe, that you should not be connecting that thing to anything, right? You move the crypto there. If you're doing it for the first time, you move a very small amount first, $5, $10, because I've learned that the hard way. You know, I sometimes I'm doing 5 things at once and I'm rushing and I've lost $5,000 worth of this or $5,000 worth of that because I've transferred it to the wrong address because I wasn't paying attention. So just if you're going to transfer a large amount of crypto, focus, small amount first, confirm that it works, recopy it, and just leave it alone. Once you start connecting that wallet over and over again to things that you might probably shouldn't be doing it, that's a sign to, what's it called? Thanks, Kate. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Other Nomad, what's up, dude? Great to see you. Man, a lot of really amazing people coming out today. Great to see all you guys. All right. What else we got here? Always nice to see you, Kate. How are you doing? You have a good week? I've missed you. Thank you for being here. Yeah, some people have their own agendas here, man. Let's see here. John Maddox says, how do I not own it on the exchange? Okay, so that's a great, John, that's a great question. That's a good question. We could talk about this, you know. So if you haven't heard the term, not your keys, not your crypto, you have the rights to whatever's in your account. Okay. What we've seen in the past, and every exchange has different terms and conditions and whatever, but what we've seen in the past is if something happens to that exchange, whether, maybe they violate an order and the government comes in and shuts them down, maybe something, a black swan event happens in the crypto market and everybody's cashing out and there's not enough liquidity or enough customer assets. There's been all of these different things that have happened in the past that have greatly, caused people to lose crypto. So if the exchange goes down, for any reason, you can't access your funds, right? Those are your funds, sure. But if the website's down, if you can't transfer it, if you can't access it, yes, it's yours, but you have no access to it. Okay. And so I'll give you an example here. Celsius. When did Celsius fail? Let me see this. Let me show you something crazy here. When did Celsius fail? I probably spelled Celsius wrong. It's okay. 2022. This collapsed in early 2022. People right now are starting to get some of their money back. And usually it's like 10 cents on the dollar, 50 cents on the dollar, right? So if you want to take the risk of doing that, that's fine. But a lot of people that have been in the crypto space for quite some time understand that it comes with anything can happen. And if it does, it could be bad. All right. Uphold has 3 keys. I don't know. Why does it have 3 keys? I'd have to research why. I don't think anything bad's going to happen, but plan for the worst. Always plan for the worst. Okay. If you're not actively trading, when I talk to some different finance people or financial advisors, one of the biggest things they say is like, how can you de-risk, right? How can you reduce the risk in your life? This is an easy way to reduce risk. Like very simple. You can, you have access to the account. You can go in, you can do this. Just, make sure you're paying attention, make sure you're, moving what you need to. And then once it's there, until you're ready to sell that, it stays there, right? So I don't know like what your individual plan is for this bull market or for the future, but if it's on an exchange, it always has some type of risk. So yeah, people like Tangent, people like all kinds of stuff. Of course, John, I hope that helps, man. I really do hope it helps you, brother. Do you think Ledger Flex is safe? Which one's the Flex? Hold on, Ledger Flex. All right, let's take a look here. Let me pull this up for you. So just a suggestion here. Okay, so remember how we just searched Ledger Flex. See how we have Shop Ledger, and then we have Amazon. You never buy anything to do with crypto on Amazon or a third-party website where somebody can resell something, because you might not be buying it from the manufacturer. Okay, so once you verify that it's the manufacturer, this this Ledger, in my opinion, is safe. I have majority of crypto on a Ledger device, so like that's what I personally use. So what's funny? I think this box right here. Hold on. So this is a Ledger Flex. I think I ordered this a long time ago and I never opened it. Hold on. Oh, it's a Ledger Stacks. See? Interesting. Secure crypto, NFTs, and digital assets. I bought this like years ago, and it finally came a few months ago. I just never opened it. Most of my crypto is already like stashed away. So yeah. All right, what else we got here? Joey wallet. I don't know. I don't have any information on the Joey wallet. I do apologize. Sensei Uphold Vault. Is that good? Is that what I think, was that Sarah who was talking about it with 3 different keys and stuff like that? I got some Ledger stickers, man. Maybe I'll have to put some up here. I don't know. We'll have to figure this out here. We'll do that at a later date. All right. What about Decent? Shane, I personally don't use Decent. I've heard a lot of people talk positively about it though. So I can't really speak to you on like how it works or the security or any of that stuff. But I do know I've seen a lot of positive comments over the years about Decent. Yeah, I mean, obviously the problem is like if you own too many wallets and you have too many cryptos amongst all these wallets, like if something happens and you need to sell the crypto and you can't figure out which wallet is on or whatever, that could have a negative impact. So, just, how you are, right? Your memory, how you should be doing this stuff. So yeah. Great time to be alive. Michael B, what's up, my man? I'm having an issue on Tangent. Getting past first card, mask the pin, scan again. It keeps buffering. I wish I could help you there, Michael. I don't know too much about it, man. Have you thought to reach out to their team? Just be careful, like on Discord or something like that. If you can do through like email or call them, that might be better. Time for Ledger Flex. Yeah, I like Ledger, man. I feel like I'm like that's what I'm comfortable with. I've been using it since I do have a Discord server. So thank you for remembering that, Jay, because like sometimes I forget to talk about it. So so if you're interested in my community, that is Cryptonaires. And so this is where people like Ariana and I myself and some of the other members in the chat here hang out. This is where we're sharing information. It's a Discord community. There is some new information and pricing if you're interested. This is wap.com/Cryptonaires. Cryptonaires is spelled right there on the top left of your screen. I've also provided a link down in the chat here if you're interested. There is a free trial if you just want to come in and see what we're about. Come on in. I'm in there as much as I can be. People are sharing information. I'm sharing things that I'm seeing in the space, and it's a lot. It's people I've known for years, which a lot of people in there I trust, good researchers, kind people, and everyone's in there is trying to help each other. Right? There's no drama. There's no craziness. Just if you come into any Discord channel, turn your DMs off, right? And then, you're never going to get a DM from me, a phone call from me, a text message from me. Somebody sent me an email the other day and said, "Hey, Sensei, you've been texting me." And I was like, who are you? And they're like, "Oh, you've been texting me." And I was like, what number do you have for me? And they sent this number and it was like, from Las Vegas or something. And I was like, that's not me. And so, it makes me sick when I hear, how the level of some of these people getting scammed. It's terrible. So if you join Discord and you're not used to Discord, understand that you are going to get DMs from people pretending to be from the team or whatever. Don't talk to those people. All right. Okay. But thank you for bringing that up, Sergey. Love to see you around. Thoughts on IOTA, Jonathan Abram? I haven't been keeping up with IOTA. I probably wouldn't be the best person to ask. There might be some really incredible things happening right now, and I just don't know. But let's see if we could take a look here together and see what we can see. Okay, I'll pull it up right now on the screen. Let's go to Twitter and we'll put in IOTA, and we'll see what we can see, man. So the question was updates on IOTA. Let's see here. Anyone saw this twin, which is powered by IOTA? The recently launched Trade Worldwide Information Network, also known as Twin. Okay, that might be something interesting to look at. Let me save that for later. So yeah, this isn't a good update on IOTA. It looks like this is a Twin Foundation targeting 10 trillion opportunity. Of course, this is always good to take a look at here if you're interested in like the top tokens and what they can do. Here's Energy Web, the Constellation DAG. This is LCX. This is Quant, Algorand, Sologenic. Oh God, what is this one? This is it's not Celsius. I don't know why my brain is thinking Celsius. It's I can't even think straight. What is that one? Someone help me out here. Bottom right on the C. What is that one? That is Codius? No, it's not Codius. It is. Oh, I can't think about it. All right. Anyways, let's keep it going here. There's. Let me see what else we can find here. I mean, it looks like the biggest news was this World Economic Forum update. Everyone's sharing the same thing. People are sharing ISO. It does look, oh, this is May 6th. That's not helpful. June 16th. Looks like here's a kind of setup here. Looks like it just broke through a little bit. I don't know. I'm sure there's just a lot of really incredible people that do content on IOTA. Sorry, Jonathan. Just not really my cup of tea, my man. I'll try to get some IOTA updates for next time, though. Okay. Thank you for asking. Future sponsorships, Perplexity and Ledger goals. Yeah, no shit, right? Now, like, Ledger's reached out, Decent's reached out, like all of these wallet people have reached out, but like I don't want to sit up here and try to sell you something. People ask like my opinion of something, I want to give it to you, and I don't need anything in return for giving you the information. Like I do this because I like getting up here and talking with you guys and understanding what you're interested in and having these conversations. It's impactful. I learned a lot from you guys. Thank you. Phantom Wallet. Yeah, Phantom Wallet's good, man. Like, we use that Phantom for like memes and things like that. But, if you're trading Solana tokens, you either need to be using a platform like something like BullX or like Photon or one of those platforms that does really quickly, or you use a Telegram wallet, like a trading bot wallet where you can, program and snipe and all that stuff. That, you can get really deep into this stuff. Well, that's good. Like, as long as like that's secure, you guys understand, everything that can happen, as long as that's your plan and what you feel comfortable with, you do that. Absolutely. Let's see here. Kevin Rodriguez says, will the price of crypto change if it's in the wallet? Yes, Kevin. So it doesn't matter where the crypto is. Like if it's on a Ledger or if it's on a MetaMask or a Phantom wallet, as the cryptocurrency goes up or down in value, they all are hooked through APIs and they all update price and stuff like that. Yeah. That's a good question though, man. Thank you for asking. Yeah. Never give your password. So, here's a story. Here is a crazy story. My mom just bought $5,000 worth of crypto. And, I was kind of telling her, what she could do, like if she wanted to do it herself or if she wanted me to like walk her through it, all this stuff. Excuse me. So, long story short, I helped my mom buy some crypto. Within like a few days, maybe 2 days, she sends me a text message, and she got a text message from, someone claiming to be from Coinbase saying that she has to upgrade her, update her information. She doesn't even have a Coinbase account. So my mom had never got a scam message before, but she immediately knew that it was a scam message. But what I'm trying to get at is like, she doesn't even have a Coinbase account, but now she's getting these, like, I think AI and these scammers have these crazy abilities to just get your phone number, get your email, and start targeting you. So if you get an email claiming to be from an exchange, if you get a text message claiming to be from an exchange, it is probably a scammer. Do not give your seed phrase. Do not pair your account to anything. Like block, ignore. If you block and ignore it enough, you probably won't keep getting targeted. But if you're like, I think that I've used some choice words, on some scammers a few times, and that probably didn't help. But man, like every day you get like a text or an email trying to rob you. And I'm just so sick of it, man. Yeah. Change your Google password, Rian, we actually did some ZBIC updates earlier. Probably maybe between 40 minutes and 50 minutes of this chat, there's multiple ZBIC updates. It does look like something that's definitely picking up on Steam, and we've been talking about it more and more. I have personally been buying ZBIC over the last few months. All right. I hope that's helpful to you, man. I tried buying IOTA on Uphold, and there's no options to buy. So like, it's so hard. It's hard because here, first of all, Jess, let me just show you a solution here. So if you want to know like where you can buy reputable cryptos that have been around for some time, what is going on? I don't understand what's going on with CoinMarketCap and MetaMask, but all good. So let me just show you this. If you share this tab, if you go to, let me just make sure I've got the screen. If you go to IOTA here and you pull this up, there's a button here that says markets. If you click on this button, it'll pull up every place that you should be able to buy this. Okay. And so if you're just looking at this screen, Jess, and you might know this already, but this is, a good refresh for people that might not know it. So here is the pair. So this is IOTA versus USDT, USDC, and different tokens across different exchanges. If you just want to go right directly from here, like let's say you're like, okay, I want to trade this on Binance, you can actually click on this and this will bring you right to the trading pair on Binance. Okay. Now, obviously this has a referral code here and there might be some shadiness going. So you just want to be careful, but you can simply go through and get that information where to buy it. So I think you said you wanted to buy on an Uphold. Let's just go present screen IOTA. Let's just take a look at markets one more time. So you said you were on there might not be an option for where you're trying to buy it on actually. And that happens too, like some of these places don't have liquidity. It doesn't look like you can buy it there. That's why, Jess. I don't think it's listed on there. So meme coin Candy by Matt Fury, less than 200K market cap. I've seen a lot of projects claiming to be from Matt Fury. Is it really a project from him? Let's see. Candy with a K. I mean, I've seen a lot of people claiming to be, what's it called? Oh, it's a CTO. It's a CTO, man. So they might be like, it might be his character, but it's a community takeover. So it's not his token, right? It's a community takeover. So it could do something, but like this is just too much risk for me, man. I'm not trading meme coins right now. Just, there's so many like really good tokens to buy at this time. And we're really at like the summer before we really start to get at the end of the year pump. So I think like I want to put every additional dollar I can right now into things that I think I will get a return on. And, just, I can't tell you how much money I've lost on meme coins or new DeFi projects. Just it adds up. And then you're like, man, I could have had like another 100,000 XRP or something crazy, and you're just like, anyway. Oh my God, you guys are crazy here. We have 1,835 people, 1,570 on Twitter. That's so many people that like to watch on Twitter. I don't understand why people like to watch on Twitter. It's pretty crazy. What website was he looking at IOTA? I was looking at CoinMarketCap. CoinMarketCap. I was looking at some data on CoinMarketCap. Here. If you're not familiar with CoinMarketCap, this is kind of one of the two main places that projects try to be on. This is, to get price and markets and circulating supply and just, contract and all kinds of information. You pay $5,000 to be on it. So ESC says, Sensei, I'm worried. Should I be worried about XRP having no future? I mean, I think that could be said with any crypto asset, right? We don't know how it's going to turn out. Can you put XRP back in the box? Does it solve a real problem? I think that's the question you need to ask yourself. I personally think it does. I think, Ripple has more than enough partnerships with institutions. They're actively taking now the Hidden Road acquisition. They're going to be settling a lot of that value with RLUSD and, XRP as the gas token. And I mean, I don't know. I don't think I've ever been more bullish on the news and information. I got into XRP in like 2019, end of 2019. The lawsuit was just like a year later, and so most of my experience with XRP has been this Ripple and SEC case. And we're at the tail end of that. We have the stablecoin regulation going. We have, patents with the DTCC using XRP and some other assets too, HBAR and Tezos and Tron and Flow and Bitcoin, Ethereum. And, you're starting to see patents with Bank of America and XRP. I mean, I think this whole market could go one way or another, right? I'm hoping XRP has a future. All the research I've done makes me believe that it's still going to be here in 5 years or 10 years. But I'm also adding, you know, HBAR. I'm adding some ZBIC. I'm adding some SHX. I added Angel, the token we talked about on Tuesday that just launched. You know, there's other things that you add because we're never going to be right 100%. You know, and if this doesn't work, maybe this will. So I believe in it, man, and I'm hoping that it has a future. All right. We are just crossing the 2-hour mark, guys, and I'm a little tired here. I'm kind of going down. So any other last minute questions we can do? And then Tuesday, I actually have something really fire to show you. So Tuesday, I have a special guest, and actually I'm really excited to talk to this person. So I wanted to start better understanding, you know, DeFi solutions in the XRP ecosystem. And somebody that I respect a lot, Crypto Erie, she has been talking about this project called More Markets. And this is turning idle tokens like XRP into productive assets, earn yield while staying on native charts. And so I wanted to bring the CEO in to talk about what he's actually building here. So he's going to be here on Tuesday. I'm really interested to talk with him and seeing kind of like, what are these solutions? Why should people care or be paying attention? What are the benefits going to be to the XRP community? I think this is going to be a great conversation. So if you have some time on Tuesday, we're going to go through news and we're going to go through, your questions, but I'm also going to have the CEO of More Markets here. And it's going to be a good opportunity if you're interested in that platform to ask him a direct question that I can ask him through you guys. Okay. 2x on 2x on XRP is more guarantee, I think, than it's going down. If you're talking about futures, XRP has nothing to do with price. I love Jake. I think highly of his opinion. There's others now saying it could be 4,300. So Chris, what you're talking about right now is not, I know what you're talking about. I played this earlier. Let me show you what you're talking about. You're talking about this clip. Hold on. Where is it? You're talking about, shoot. This is the clip you're talking about. I got it. I know what you're talking about. Here you go. This is what you're talking about. So just so everyone knows, this is Sal Gilberte. This is the guy I interviewed. He's the CEO of Tucrium. He was on stage. His analyst. So just so you know, guys, this is a small company. This is not like a multi-billion-dollar institution. I just want to make that very clear. Okay. They have, I think they, let me see how big is, hold on. XRP CEO Sal. Let me just get the name of it real quick. Because Sal told us how big his company was. And it's not as big as people think it is. So I just want to clarify that. How big is Tucrium company size and value they process in products? Let me get the exact number for you if I can. But anyways, this guy Sal, his team did research into legitimate pricing models for XRP, and those models varied between $5 and $4,300. So let me play this let me just make sure I'm sharing the right screen. I am sharing the right screen. Let me pull this down here. Well, let me pull this down so you can see everything here. And here is the clip.
Again, the questions we get from investors is, when's the price going to go up? That's what everybody wants to know. Well, the only way that we can figure that out, and we have a 22-page paper that's not public yet. I got to figure out how to do that our analyst did. And he went over all the legitimate pricing models for XRP. And again, it came to between $5 and $4,300, depending on your timing and your use case. For me, it's supply, demand, and velocity. So if it takes 5 seconds to settle a transaction, how many XRP did that use? Can you really do it 12 times a minute? Can you really do that 24 hours a day? So how much XRP do you really need? Those are all basic questions that need to be answered for the velocity models. And that'll happen over time. We are literally still in a nascent industry. We're all sitting here. This is going to get bigger every single year. But the usage of XRP, the use case of the Ripple ledger is, I think, probably exploding from what you're talking about here. All of that is going to help. And then as arbitrageurs come in to get rid of those price differentials so that things can trade more easily, it's just going to take time, but it's going to happen. And things happen, little things like taking advantage of money, that happens faster than you think. When people want to make money, that happens faster than you think. When you're trying to change an entire infrastructure and a way of doing business, which is what we're talking about here, ultimately, that happens slower than you think. So give it time, but it's happening.
All right, give it time, but it's happening. So here is how big the company is, because like I think a lot of people just don't take this extra research step, and I'm trying to help you be a better researcher. I'm trying to show you how I do certain things, and I'm hopefully that allows you to learn extra skills so you can look at this stuff yourself. So 2Cream is a small investment management firm based in Burlington, Vermont. The company has 2 to 10 employees. Despite the small team, 2Cream has a suite of exchange-traded funds and operates a partnership founded in 2009. So 2Cream Wheat Fund, it's got 121 million. 2Cream 2X XRP is 117 million. But see, like this doesn't impact the price. And then here they have a corn fund, a soybean fund, and a sugarcane fund. The average asset size per fund is about 34.6 million. It holds over 110. So this is how big it is. I just want to make sure people understood that. We're very clear on all of that. Okay. I did see $3 from Rion Dairy. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate you. I'm going to take that $3 and donate it to the Victims Fund. Guys, like I said, since I still have 1,800 of you here, if you guys can help support the Munisy Victims Fund, I would greatly appreciate it. I will donate the $3, plus a little bit more too. I've donated 300 pounds or 300 euros to this already out of the 405. This only represents a small portion of the victims. So I'm going to give more to this, but if you can help out $5, $10, $20, whatever you can do, I would be in your debt. And I really appreciate if any support you guys could give to these people. I'll also leave it here in the chat, and it's also in the description of the video if you guys are able to do that. All right, guys, listen, I have a lot of content coming. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Spend some time with somebody you love. And just enjoy it. I'll see you on Tuesday with that interview with more markets and a bunch of new information, news, and have a good day. All right. Aloha. Bye, guys. Thank you, Ariana. Thank you, Curtis. And thank you, everybody that's been here watching and asking questions. I love you all. Appreciate you. Thanks, guys. Aloha. Aloha, Mike. Peace, Mike. Luna, we did it.